Light Walker here, coming out with some fabulous photos I took of a beautiful hike around Bear Mountain in Salisbury, Connecticut, May 1st, 2017. As you just saw, the temperature at the base was 47 degrees, but by 3 p.m. it should be in the low 70s. You always want to subtract 10 to 20 degrees for the summit because you don't know what the conditions will be like. At the Undermountain Trail junction off Route 41, there's a lot of really nice signs, including a caution to always be careful about bears. I take that seriously. I carry a can of bear maze in my hand at all times. Call me paranoid, but I just don't like surprises. You can see there's a nice map showing you where the Undermountain Trail is. The Paradise Lane Trail on the right will be taken. You can't really see Sage's Ravine at the top, but we're coming back down on the left through Bear Mountain. Some Appalachian Trail pamphlets there. You could pick them up. Gives you the entire description of the stops that you can make along the Appalachian Trail in Connecticut, 52 miles of it. Here's the start of my hike. It starts off very gradual for the first half mile, pretty much 1 on a scale of 1 to 10, if that. Starts getting a little bit steeper, maybe at 2, 3 tops until you get to the junction of Paradise Lane. It's probably the steepest part. Call that a 3 if you like. In my book, it's a 2. Here we are, just about at the juncture. You can see to the right, you take a right to the campground, or you go left, you end up eventually on the Appalachian Trail, another mile or so down. I took a right to the Paradise Group area. From there, you could actually, there's a connector trail to get you on the Paradise Lane Trail, which is what I always take. At this point, we are 1.1 miles into the hike. Another 1/10 of a mile, you can see you're actually on the Paradise Lane Trail. And you can see at the end of that, you can see where that connector is, no more than maybe 2/10 of a mile down the campsite area. You take a left. If you go straight, you go into the camping areas. You can check them out too if nobody's there. I've been there before. I've gotten lost there before. I thought that's where the Paradise Lane Trail was. I actually followed that for a good 1/4 mile. That's basically an old abandoned trail. You do not want to go there. You don't want to go straight. Okay, so here we are on the Paradise Lane Trail. Just took a few pictures of hemlocks near a bog. I took a lot of really good video of this, and along with Sage's Ravine in an upcoming video. Be sure to check that out. This video is just pictures. Trying to keep this under 10 minutes. If I had the video, it would be over 20, 25 minutes long. Here's a nice view going into this hemlock grove. Just beautiful there. Smells like a brand new pine-scented car. Here's a little plaque on the right in memory of one of the founders of the Appalachian Trail Committee in Connecticut. Apparently this fella passed away on, I'm not sure when, but the plaque was put there in 1981. Okay, here we are at the end of that trail where it intersects with the AT. Left to Bear Mountain, right to Sage's Ravine. We're taking a right. Some signs, always good to read the signs. You can pause the video here if you want to catch up on them. It's basically a 1 mile. Actually, at this point, we're at three miles into the walk. We got about a mile to go to get to the bottom of the ravine. See, we're going north and to the right. We're into Massachusetts now. Some nice looking hemlock. I just had to take a picture of. I guess it doesn't come out really good in this photo, but it came out pretty good in the video. I took some video of this area and the surrounding areas you got to check out. Toward the top of the ravine, if you cross that bridge, you're into the Sage's Ravine campsite. I got some pictures of that coming up. I'll show you. But you continue. Basically, it starts off gradual down the ravine, 1 on a scale of 10, and gets a little steeper, maybe a 3, 4 at the worst spot. Beautiful waterfalls, beautiful swimming pools here. I'd love to come back on a hot day in July or August and just do nothing but swim in these pools. Be a blast. There's one of the smaller waterfalls, no more than a couple feet tall, emptying out into these pools. Some of these pools look like they're about 10, 15 feet deep at places. Here's a close-up of that waterfall. Probably got to be real careful here because the rocks are really slippery. And the trail, that's looking back up the trail, even though I was going what direction am I? I was going east. This is looking west. And this looks like the spot where you can cross over to get out of the ravine, continuing on the Appalachian Trail. heading into Massachusetts to the Laurel Ridge campsite, eventually to Racebrook Falls Trail. I've gone there and back with the AMC hike. It's a good hike. It's a good 10 to 12 miles round trip, so you got to be in shape for that. At the end of the ravine, we are 3.9 miles into the hike. And they have a logbook that you sign. I signed it in the lower right. I apologize up front if I'm invading on anyone's privacy here. If I am, just let me know who you are. I'll be gladly happy to fade out the part of the book for you. Proof that I was on the trail. And there's probably the most spectacular waterfall there. From the top to the bottom, it's about 20 feet. The main part is about 15 feet. And if you can get down there and stand on that rock, you are basically covered in water. Back up at the top, we are at the Sages Ravine campsites. You can see there are 8 sites. Site 6 was closed for the day, so really 7. There's also a group site at the right. And here's some of the stands for the tents. Some of the sites have the stands. Some of them don't. Here's one that doesn't, but you can tell that they've pretty much tried to flatten it out to the best of their ability. Here's a moss-covered sleeping area. Looks kind of gross if you've never slept on moss, but if you've slept on moss before, this would be my top pick if I didn't have adequate liner. It's like sleeping on a cloud. This looks like maybe a site without any anything to sleep on. Maybe that's a group site. No, that's not the group site. The group site has a campfire ring. There's bear lockers here, several of them. There's a beautiful privy coming up. I think that's site 7 or 8. Yeah, there's a privy. It looks like they just overhauled it and painted it. I'm not sure who maintains this site, but I appreciate all the fine work you've been doing. Hope to stay there someday. There's a registration book, so you probably need to register in advance, I'm guessing. We go back up the ravine. We are 5.2 miles into our hike. At this point, we're heading into Bear Mountain, right over Bear Mountain. Starts off gradual and gets steep real quick. You can see this is maybe a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. That's maybe a 4, but there are stairs. Feels like you're on the Stairmaster on a gym after a while. And then you start climbing up boulders, which I consider to be maybe a 6 or a 7. It gets pretty steep. I actually lost my breath twice on this trail. Almost lost it. Shows my age and shows me that I need to drop at least 20 pounds to hike with the elite hikers of the Appalachian Mountain Club. Finally at the top. Overcast, didn't take many pictures. Oh, you can see my finger on the right side of the camera. Sorry about that. Just one person at the top journaling. Tried not to get in her way there. And at this point we are 5.7 miles into the hike. Felt like it was in the mid-50s there with a decent wind up top. Cloudy, a little bit of fog. That's about one of the best pictures you'll see from up there this time of year. Can't really see the valley. It was just too overcast. Pine, beautiful pine scents everywhere. At least there were no crowds, thanks to the overcast weather. Nice little pine tree near the top as well. Start heading down. You can see once we get back to the Bear Mountain Road Trail, we have 6.3 miles into our trip. Just climbed an elevation of, it looks like 2298 feet. This time I took a right and found a trail on the right of that. It's trail to the Appalachian Mountain Club's Northwest Camp. I got permission for one of the caretakers to get close to it at a distance, so I took a few pictures and left. Typically you can't get there, especially if it's reserved, because you basically could get arrested, I guess, for trespassing. But anyway, it sleeps 6 on the inside, 4 on the outside. Divide the cost by 10. It's a bargain pretty much at any cost. There's an access trail to the river behind it. You can see it's no more than 20-30 yards to get fresh water. I'm going to have to put that on my bucket list this time. So the whole entire hike to that point was 7.2 miles. Pretty much came back when we get to the Riga Junction. You could see some other hikes. I took, if you go down to Lion's Head, Route 41, Lion's Head and back, that's an extra 2.5 miles each way. I highly recommend that. Beautiful views from up there on a clear day or partly cloudy. And you basically head back. At this point, we're 9 miles into the trip. We got back to the intersection of the AT there. Cross over some streams. Come downhill. There's the end of our track. You can see that we've gone 10.1 miles total. Total elevation climbing of 2254 feet. Moving time of 3 hours and 50 minutes. There's a nice landscape view of it. Show how steep it was climbing up Bear Mountain. And I hope you enjoyed my hike, and we hope to catch you next time. Light Walker signing out, reminding you again to please walk by the light of Christ.